My what versus my why. Roxboro, North Carolina, my hometown. More specifically, Longhurst is where I was born and raised. From walking the streets of Pointer Street, walking the railroad tracks from Providence Road, playing ball at Longhurst Ball Field is some of my fondest and greatest memories. But my greatest memory as a child was watching my mom and dad working in law enforcement and working at the sheriff's office. Watching their passion for the job that they did and the love of that job and the love of each other made me aware of what I wanted to do. At 22 years old, I started my career in law enforcement because that's what I wanted to do. I knew my what. Over the course of the last 22 years, behind these walls of this courthouse, I've testified in numerous cases, to include murders, rapes, larcenies, child victim cases, and so much more, putting people away in prison for months to years, if not lifetime, to keep the streets of Person County and Roxboro, North Carolina safe. Because that's what I am, and that's what I do. I'm a law enforcement officer. December 22nd, 2011, just 3 days before Christmas, I was a street sergeant on patrol when I responded to a breaking and entering call here in Person County. Once I arrived at the house, I was greeted by a young fellow about 9 or 10 years old, and he invited me in. There I spoke with his mother, who invited me to have a seat at the kitchen table to finish my report and my investigation. While I'm writing my report, the young kid sitting at the opposite end of the table with a notepad, drawing something. As I completed my investigation on the breaking and entering, and I was about to leave, the young fella came up to me and handed me a hand-drawn picture of what he said was a deputy sheriff and himself, and he was holding my hand. He said that was me and that was him. And it's at that point in time, I knew my why. I knew why I am a law enforcement officer. I want to protect people who can't protect themselves. And it took that young kid for me to figure out my why. Once you know your why, your what becomes so much more impactful. And that's why I'm running for sheriff of Person County.